Hello, church family. It's 2 Minute Tuesday. From now until June, my midweek videos will be focused on a selection of my favorite passages from the Bible, in no particular order. We'll start with Genesis 15. The word of the Lord came to Abram in a vision. Do not be afraid, Abram. I am your shield, your very great reward. But Abram said, Sovereign Lord, what can you give me since I remain childless? You have given me no children, so a servant in my household will be my heir. Then the word of the Lord came to him, A son who is your own flesh and blood will be your heir. He took him outside and said, Look up at the sky and count the stars, if indeed you can count them. Then he said to him, So shall your offspring be. But Abram said, Sovereign Lord, how can I know? So the Lord said to him, Bring me a heifer, a goat, and a ram, each 3 years old, along with a dove and a young pigeon. Abram brought all these to him, cut them in two, and arranged the halves opposite each other. As the sun was setting, Abram fell into a deep sleep, and a thick and dreadful darkness came over him. When the sun had set and darkness had fallen, a smoking firepot and a blazing torch appeared and passed between the pieces. When you and I make a contract, we commit to a cost or a course of action. We sign papers, and we do so knowing that if we don't hold up our side of the agreement, then the contract dissolves and we just part ways. God doesn't make that kind of contract. God makes covenants. He gives his word and never breaks it. Now, God's ultimate covenant is the one that he made with Abram. God came to Abram out of the blue and said, I'm going to bless you. I'm going to make your descendants into a great nation, and through them, I'm going to bring salvation to the whole human race. Now, the terms of this promise were almost unbelievable. God promised Abram something he couldn't do for himself, that is, have children. He and his wife were biologically unable to have kids. And God offered Abram something he couldn't possibly earn, that is, God's blessing. In fact, this was so hard to believe that Abram kind of pushed back and asked God, how can I be sure of this? In response, God invited Abram into a covenant. So in the ancient Middle East, people didn't sign paper contracts. They made covenants in blood. They would sacrifice an animal. They would cut the animal in half. They'd lay the sides of the animal opposite each other with a bloody path in the middle. And then the two parties in the covenant would walk the path and say, may what happened to this animal happen to me or to you if either of us breaks our word. So God says, let me prove it. Prepare the covenant. They do so, and there's the bloody path laid out in front of them. And when it's time for them to walk the path together, God causes Abram to pass out, and God passes along the bloody path all alone. So doing, God takes full responsibility for the terms of the covenant and basically swears on his own life that he will in fact bless Abram, make him into a great nation, and save the world through him. This is how God makes a contract. He makes a promise and takes full responsibility for the terms, even when the terms are death. God pays the terms of that covenant of salvation at the cross of Jesus Christ. Jesus is our pathway to that covenant relationship with God. Through Jesus, God takes all the things that he promised Abram and he offers them to us. Now, for Abram to take advantage of that covenant, all he had to do was take God at his word and trust God. And that's true for us too. All we need to receive the terms of God's covenant of salvation, God's promise to be our shield and our great reward, all we need is to trust God and take him at his word. So that's his invitation. Take the path that Jesus laid out for you. Embrace what Jesus paid to get you and receive God as your shield, your great reward for now and forever. That's God's contract.